Welcome to a special episode of our podcast while we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Department of Communicology and Journalism. And in addition to that, we are hosts for the International Scientific Conference on Media and Challenges of the Modern Society. I'm Nicolia, I will be your host today, and right next to me we have a very distinguished guest with us. Let me tell you a little bit about him. Our guest today is Associate Professor Antonio Momoc from the Faculty of Journalism and Communication Sciences at the University of Bucharest in Romania. Professor Momoc has an extensive and impressive background teaching courses in political marketing, online communication and digital transformations, electoral campaigns, social sciences at the Bachelor level, and new media and political communication at the MA level. He also served as the Dean of the Faculty of Journalism and Communication Sciences from 2020 to 2024. We are honored to have Professor Momoc here with us today to share his insights on the evolving landscape of media and communication. Welcome, Professor, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me. It's a great honor to be here and to have this talk.
Our pleasure, mostly. I would like to start with a question talking about the diverse range of subjects you teach, from the political marketing, electoral campaigns to media, and how do you approach teaching such a diverse range of subjects with your students?
Yeah, it seems they are very different, but in fact it's about communication. It's about public communication and how public communication is affected or influenced by algorithms, by digital platforms, by big tech companies, and how public communication and the way we are doing public communication affects our societies and our economies and also our democracies. So even though it would seem that they are different or in a different range or different perspectives or different topics, in fact they are about elections, they are about democracy, they are about the public conversation. So in a way it is about the relationship, the special relationship between freedom of expression, correct and responsible information, and also let's say right representation of the interest in societies, and also about democracy. So they are linked in a way by these ideas.
Absolutely, and even your research presentation at the conference was focusing on, and let me read it so I get it correctly, business models in journalism today, challenges of media ethics and populist trends in the digital era. So can you give us an overview of the points you're addressing following the presentation?
Of course. We are discussing, in fact, a model. We are discussing about a social media profit-driven model, which is in fact the social networks business models, which is affecting the way, in fact, how journalists and citizens and entrepreneurs are developing their media outlets, the entire media system, and this model of social media platforms, profit-driven social media platforms, has a certain impact on you see how the journalists are covering very important topics, because instead of let's take an ordinary journalist, instead of taking care of public interests as a main occupation of the journalist, the journalist today needs to focus on algorithms, on keywords and tags, and this way the journalists are working for social media platforms and for algorithms, and they are not keen on anymore on public interest topics. So in order to compete with social media driven platforms by capital and by profit, the ordinary journalists and ordinary citizens, in order to, of course, everybody has a voice online on social media, but how many of us do really are heard by the public? So this is the reason why, or by the public opinion, and this is the reason why the journalist needs to come on social media and to copy the social media business model in order to promote their own materials, their own content. And instead of discussing facts or fact-based content, they will need to exaggerate a little, or they will need to, copy the model of the social media business companies in this way to reach a larger number of audience, of public.
Yeah.
And they actually are interested more in how they make visible their own news or
Posts.
of course by promoting their posts, and they are doing so, some of them paying for advertisement in social media, or they are doing so sometimes exaggerating or using tags or keywords that they know for sure that bots and the algorithms would promote and spread more. And what do you know for sure is the fact that from research, the fact that fake news, deepfake, disinformation is spreading more because of the algorithms, of social media platforms. They are spreading more and more viralized than the truth and then the real fact news.
I would agree. I'd say that the news which are related on as you said, on the truth, on real events, they cannot fight off all of the bots and all of the other or deepfake or fake news to get to the top. So when people search for something, they can actually get to the real news.
More than this, many people which are taking their information out of social media or from social media platforms, they believe they have the impression that they are informed. In fact, they are not informed, because what is on social media is there are not information. There are in fact promotion, in fact PR is brand constructing, because social media platforms are constructed and they in fact imagined these tools in order to promote products and in order to promote goods and services and make the connection between goods and services and the consumer. But the journalists are not preoccupied with consumers and consumerism. They are preoccupied with citizenships and with democracy. So we should not discuss about business models in journalism. This is a trap. We should discuss about business models in media, because journalism is related with public interest, and media may be interested in profit and in making money. When we are doing journalism, the only goal, the main goal for you is the public interest. So you are trying to verify information and to deliver a quality information by investigative journalism, by the way you are fact-checking your info in order to serve the public, not the algorithms, not the big tech companies, not the profit of the media owners.
Absolutely. And if we got all the correct information, in 2021 you won a Fulbright Visiting Scholar Award to teach and conduct research at the Ohio University, the College of Communication, School of Journalism, while focusing on alternative financial models for mass media during the 2022 spring semester. Could you tell us more about your experience and all the innovative financial models that you explored to sustain the mass media?
In US, also not only in Europe, the pandemic crisis affected a lot the traditional media business models, especially the profit neoliberal model, where you need to have high figures, high traffic, high numbers in order to have advertisement and this way to pay the wages, to pay the journalists, to pay the business. So they were very affected by that. So they also were looking after different economical or financial models in order to survive and in order to construct or to get an, let's say, some kind of independent journalism, not one which is dependent on figures or dependent on advertisement or dependent on different commercial interests. So they were looking after that. And more than this, and what is very important differentiation between US and European countries, especially countries in the Central and Eastern Europe, is the fact that in US more people are willing to pay for online content. Yeah. For example, in countries like Romania, if anything is online, people do believe that it's for free, so they don't have to pay for it. But in US, even before pandemic, media outlets like National Public Radio or not only, they actually are asking money from the viewers and also the public broadcast company in US, the television state company is asking money from the public. So the public is making donation to have verified information in the public service content, so of quality journalism and so on and so forth. So this is how it works. On the other hand, of course, they have this commercialized media, so they are running after figures and numbers and viewers and traffic and so on and so forth. But what was my interest, in fact, it was if there or somewhere else some kind of alternative media where the public is willing to pay donation or subscriptions for the journalists to work in a independent way by politicians, advertisements, or anything else, and they to be accountable and responsible only in this relation with the public. This is what alternative media is as a financial model. I mean, you have a product, you have a journalistic product where they are doing investigative research, investigative journalist media materials, but they don't have money, and they are offering this content for free. So if you consider that content that is quality journalism, and you need to support the journalists there to do their own business with no control coming from politicians or commercials or anything else, you will pay a short amount of money, like $1 per month or per year or whatever. It's up to you, through PayPal systems, and support their work. And this type of media, alternative media, may be progressive one, maybe far right, it doesn't matter. May sustain a local interest, may sustain very niche interest. It doesn't count. They have their own independent editorial policy, and if you find yourself in what they are doing, in what they are working, you will support them by not necessarily by subscription, but by a short, a donation, which is
your support.
Yeah, by giving them a small amount of money. And this type of alternative media projects do exist around the United States and also Romania and also other parts of the world, including Western and Eastern countries in Europe. But actually they don't last, because sooner or later what's going on is the fact that the people lose their interest, or they from different reasons they are not willing to support the media anymore, that media outlet particularly, and they don't have very long life. Usually these type of projects do last like 2 or 3 years, and after that they collapse. So even though it is an independent way to bring money to journalists, it is not very sustainable. So any other models like beside neoliberal model with money coming from advertising, the public service model with money coming from taxes, and this model of subscription, you have alternative media model, but even though that supports democracy and supports independent free journalism, unfortunately not even in US, not else where else is having long time support from the public, and that's a very dangerous thing for democracy, because on the other hand you have a lot of people taking their information from social media, and social media is not journalism. Social media means amateurs, means people which become producers of content, content creators.
More and more every day.
Yes, and they upload whatever, and this information are not, or is not necessarily verified information, maybe opinion, maybe rumors, maybe what I believe about things. And a lot of studies and researches show that young people do understand and do take for granted this type of content, believing and thinking that this type of content is information, and in fact is PR. In fact is sellings, way of selling products, or constructing professional or personal branding, and it's not information there. And many of the users, they don't care, or they don't know which is in fact the source of that particular information, and they cannot distinguish between content produced by the professional journalist and content produced by ordinary content creators, and they believe that this type of info is equal, and they believe about themselves, they have this impression that they are informed about what's going on social media, but not anything is on social media is journalism. Unfortunately, most of this is what the figures are saying. Most of the viewers, most of the consumers of social media, they believe they get information from social media, but in fact they are not informed.
Talk about and hear the other people's opinions.
Yeah,
So the cases,
or rumors, or
rumors.
beliefs, or prejudices, or conspiracy, and they trust because how does the algorithm works? Or the question is, why social media is such a powerful weapon in terms of influencing public opinion or spreading content? Why is that? It is because of algorithm. We are discussing about algorithmic media versus public interest media service. So algorithms and artificial intelligence from platforms would spread the type of content that they know for sure, based on mathematical prediction, that they will produce much more interest, focus, attention, likes, engagement, so on and so forth, because this way they can they can produce money. So the algorithm is very is paying attention to the type of content that keeps us inside the social media platforms. But you need to keep this in mind, that always hatred, always frustrations, irritation, hate will bring more attention to the table on social media than positive content, than content which do not produce any kind of cleavage in the society, that is not very controversial. You can do it, you can test this for your own. If we post our discussion on social media, which may be very boring for part of the public, is not very interesting. But if you slap me, or if I slap you with a punch in my face, that would be viral next minute if you put it online. And that's because not because only the public interest or human interest in this. That is because the algorithm knows there's this type of content which is outrageous. How come a teacher to beat in front of the camera a student? This type of content, he knows for sure that would produce much more attention. So Vossogi and his colleagues, when they published this study about the fact that the false news, fake news are spreading more than the real news, they in fact, after searching 3 million of tweets, they realized that the bots are spreading more than the people, lies, rumors, and fake news online.
Oh goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since we're already talking about your previous work and where you've been, can you tell us more about your most recent research?
Sure.
And you mentioned also the articles that you wrote on the most recent topics.
This Sunday, I will launch a book called Communication 2.0. It is actually about social media platforms, big tech companies, and algorithms and algorithmic media, and the way the common people, the ordinary viewers, are transforming themselves into content producers. And the question is this coming with more democracy or with some kind of threats to democracy? And at last month in April, I published in Slovakia in the journal, a high-ranked impact factor journal called Communication Today, a research that we've done in Romania with my colleagues from Dance Romania, which is an advertising company. So we looked into the figures and we tried to understand if in 2018, 2022, inside the pandemic, and 2024, 2023, 24, after the pandemic, the consumption, the media consumption landscape has changed in any way. We started from the hypothesis that internet would rise and internet consumption would be more important and powerful and increased after the pandemic. But what we've realized looking into the numbers were the fact that all the young people were already online. So inside the age group between 16 and 24, it couldn't rise because they were already there. So what we found out, it was the fact that the older people, 55, 60 years plus, are coming more and more on digital platforms like TikTok, for example, or on
That's a surprise.
Yeah, and on the other hand, young people, which are 18, 23, 24, they went to the traditional media, to especially television and especially to news television, to verify the info and conspiracy theories that they've met on TikTok or on Facebook or on Instagram. So they went there on traditional media. So at the end of the day, when you measure the connection between 2018 and 2023, you will see that in fact increased the consumption in television and not in internet, even though the common knowledge and the common sense would say to you, of course, we had the pandemic, so that's why a lot of people are buying things or are online. So we had education, online courses, and so on and so forth. So you would say it is common knowledge. Internet is higher in terms of media consumption, but in reality, the things looks very different.
Especially you would expect that the younger people are spending even more time on internet when they also have more free time during the pandemic.
They do. In fact, actually, they have more internet, but not on social media. That's the good news. I mean, in terms of social media, in fact, was a little decrease, in terms of consumption, and they went on different type of, in fact, only WhatsApp, and in the particular case of Romania, to some point, TikTok, was higher and higher in terms of consumption, but all the other social media, with the exception of TikTok, were lower and lower in terms of consumption, and young people went more and more on traditional media to verify the content, to verify the information they've got from social media.
That's very nice, and very nice to hear. One more thing, since we're already discussing all the media, media ethics are increasingly challenged in all this today, let's say, fast-paced media world. And what do you think, what ethical dilemmas do journalists face the most, and how can they navigate those challenges in their work?
Yeah, that's the most important maybe question, because algorithms do not have ethical issues.
Exactly.
Algorithms are interested only in having more engagement, having us focused online, staying more, spending time and giving them data and content about ourselves, about what we believe, what we like, what we dislike, and they are using this. So if you are looking to the most, which are the most important in terms of the new companies today, if yesterday the oil company were the most important one, today the IT and big tech companies are the most important one, because they are using algorithms to make us be paying attention and be inside online, being on the online platforms. And that's the way they are doing money, selling our data, and to of course to advertisers, and actually selling our data for us to be targeted by different products and goods, because this is how it is with social media platforms. But when it comes to journalists, more and more journalists are trying to be relevant, to stay relevant, especially the journalists from traditional media, so they have to move online. Some of them start their own business online. Some of them are continuing to work for traditional media but using the online tools. But they more and more have to follow the social media business model. So as I mentioned before, they work for the interest of algorithms and platforms, not in the public interest service. So it becomes more and more difficult for the educators, for the teachers, for researchers, for citizens, for ordinary citizens, to stay interested in public debates, in public issues which are concerning us all, because the society, the online society, the digital society is very fragmented, and everybody is interested in his own niche and his own subjects and topics, personal, because you need to understand that algorithmic media means personalized media, means that I will get the kind of information that is designed and tailored by the companies, especially for me. And if we are pressing search on Google or any other search engine, you will, for the same keywords, you will receive different type of content than I will do, because the algorithm knows better what's your interests and what are my interests. But it may escape, in fact, what is in public interest and what connects us as citizens. And the algorithm doesn't or don't care about this type of issue, because they only care about our attention and frustration, emotions, and making money out of our attention. So the question is, how can we influence journalists or citizens, to pay more respect or more attention to public interest subjects? I don't think we have many tools to do that.
Exactly.
This is the reason why the book I wrote last year, it is Populism and the Crisis of Liberal Democracy. Because what is in fact in crisis is democracy, the modern democracy. Because democracy means equality, freedom, and treat people equally, and discuss subjects and topics which make us better live together. And if you are preoccupied only with your own interests, hobbies, profession, and me as well with mine, we will not find a common ground. We will not find topics that can bring us together at the same table. I don't care about what you are reading. You don't care about what kind of content I'm consuming. So very few things are are getting us together, are bringing us together, and the major problem is the fact that we may reach a point where we can hate each other, because you don't understand me, because you have your own background, your own cultural interests, your personal interests. I have mine. So when a topic will disrupt the public conversation, I will come only with my own perspective, and the algorithms, the media, is taking care to keep us in echo chambers, to keep us in bubbles, in epistemic bubbles, and to collide in this cultural war at a certain point, and we may hate each other, even though maybe we have something in common, but that was destroyed by the algorithm. So that makes even tougher and more difficult for us as teachers or journalists, to make people understand the fact they share the same interest and the same republic, the same society, because the digital society is very fragmented, and in these fragmented niche chambers, and we don't know each other at all, and we don't care, and we even hate each other. On the same topic, we will understand very different the same topic, because we didn't have this type of dialogue, rational dialogue.
We have different perceptions of things. Now,
yeah.
Today at the conference, you are surrounded by your fellow colleagues and all the other students. And could you tell me, from your point of view, what do you think is the significance of the conference held today on the Faculty of Philosophy?
I think it's very important. I mean, this type of conferences, regional, international conferences, where we can meet, we can be together from Balkans, from countries in the region, help us better understand each other. And this is what I was talking about a few seconds ago. This type of agora, this type of public space is the place where researchers, students, ordinary people are coming to the same table and sharing their perspectives, their research, their values, their way of thinking, of seeing the world, and this make us better understand each other, our differences, our perspectives, and to be more tolerant and to be more civilized one to another. If we don't discuss to each other, and we are very annoyed by what the other is telling or is sustaining or claiming, that means that we transform ourselves in tribes. And what's really happening online is the fact that we are parts of digital tribes. We are not part of the digital democracy. We are part, in fact, because of the algorithms, from digital tribes, and that makes us hate each other at a certain point. And meetings like this one, where you have people coming from not only inside Serbia, but also Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Germany, Italy, UK, Romania, Bulgaria. It is a wonderful opportunity for us to start research projects, to start collaboration, future projects together, to work to better understand what is the public perception and the public feelings and the public interest in the way we are constructing the future society together.
I would absolutely agree. And last but not the least, could you give one piece of advice to young scholars who are leaning towards studying either journalism or communications and anything related to the media?
Yeah, I think that it's very important to use these tools, online tools, in order to, of course, each one of us would use online tools for entertainment, because it's fun, because it's fast, because it gives you a lot of opportunities, because you can produce content about yourself or about your interests, and that's okay. I mean, so far so good. If the project of Facebook or social media was the one to connect services and good, that's a good thing. Connect services and consumers. That's a good thing. That's good for economy. That's good for entrepreneurs. That's good for the local economy and so on and so forth. But on the other hand, we try to construct together a society, where you have people which are not into economics or in entrepreneurship or we have different views and different interests and different preoccupations. So the young people which are in journalism or communication need to use these tools to get out of them sources, reliable sources of information, because in online environment you may find also, of course, bad music like junk food, but you may also find very good music and very good books and very qualitative content. So if you like to read or watch documentaries or certain professional books, you may find them there. But we need to use these tools to develop ourselves in a professional way, but also to have in mind the fact that we are citizens of our nations, of our world. So this is the reason why I encourage young people to use social media to discover and to read and to watch all type of qualitative content that would help them to develop, to have better information, because as you mentioned before, the battle online is on our perceptions. So if you want to distinguish between perception and fact, you need to have media literacy and critical thinking. Or for having critical thinking, you have to not react immediately after you see something online, believing that that's true or that's very funny, and you need to spread it or to react to that. We need to breathe, exactly, to breathe, think, and after that react, using what Kahneman, Professor Kahneman, which was a psychologist that won the Nobel Prize for Economy, mentioned and named what is a very not fast way of thinking, because we are using usually our fast thinking, not our slow thinking. It's like in fast food or anything by the way is fast. So we react based on our emotions, based on our lack of literacy, and we are doing harm to people without knowing and be aware of it, because this is what it is: public shaming, cyberbullying, things that we believe that cannot affect people. People may be very affected. Anyhow, the people are affected by the filters they need to use to better look online, because everybody's so perfect on Instagram. Anyhow, they have a lot of constraints in terms to construct this alternative ego online, which is another part of our virtual identity, which maybe or usually is not the same person with us in the reality, in the physical world. So we try to construct a better self online, but we forget ourselves to construct a better self offline, in the usually day-by-day world. So this should be, the main, interest of the young people, to be better also offline.
Thank you very much, Professor, for being with us today. And as we come to the end of this enlightening discussion, we would like to thank Professor Antonio Momoc from
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today and for sharing all of his valuable insights around the media community. And thank you for being with us today, and we will hear from us soon.